What is up, my brothers from another mother and those rational sisters from the other misters? So today's video, I want to do something very briefly and quick about a concept I learned a few years ago, and it kind of revolves around something fairly simple most people will understand, and it's called, is the juice worth the squeeze? You'll probably notice if you read some of the comments in my videos, some of the replies that I give to people when they say something is they'll say, yeah, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And someone from time to time will say, well, what does that mean? And it's one of the things that I often talk about when I'm coaching somebody on clarity.fm, dealing with one of the challenges they're stuck on in life. And the question you got to ask yourself over and over again, if you're doing something that's not working, is the juice worth the squeeze? Meaning, if you take a orange, say orange in a funny way, I know people are going to comment on that, but if you take an orange and you squeeze it, is the juice that you get out of the squeeze worth it? Okay, the effort and energy you put into it, is the texture, the flavor, the nutrition, the blah blah blah, all that stuff, is it worth the energy you put into it? And if you use that as a yardstick, like as a measuring tool in your life when you're doing things, it actually makes stuff a lot simpler. There's some areas that it doesn't apply, and I'll give you some good examples of areas where it does apply. I did a coaching call with a guy a few weeks ago on clarity who, without getting into too much detail and revealing personal stuff, he was stuck on a relationship he was with somebody that she was quite a bit older than he was, and stuff just wasn't working out. And I asked him several times during the conversation, is this worth it? Basically, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? How's that been working out for you, sort of thing? And if you ask yourself that question when you're making choices, decisions about where to live, where to work, is your job worth it? Is the car worth it that you're driving or wanting to buy? The relationship you're in, want to get in, want to leave, whatever the case may be, is the juice worth the squeeze? Now, the areas in life where it simply doesn't apply are things like entrepreneurial ventures when you start up. Because in many cases, for the first few years, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But it's a long game. So there are scenarios where you need to play the long game, where it's several years, Some people make the mistake of trying to play the long game, keeping themselves stuck in relationships that don't serve them. I see it quite a lot with guys that I've coached that are stuck in these borderline type of relationships where they're with a woman that's more BBD and very exhausting and draining. And you got to ask yourself the question, if you're in a dynamic or an environment where the juice isn't worth the squeeze, do you want to spend the time in it? Do you want to keep draining yourself? I talked about energy vampires, card up on the top right of the screen in the past videos, and dedicated a specific video just to that topic. So I don't think I need to bang on too much on this one. It should be fairly straightforward. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts below. Let me know what you think about that. If you've used a similar yardstick or measuring stick to evaluate scenarios that you did or didn't want to be in. Again, guys, YouTube doesn't pay for this sort of content. This creation comes out of my time and work, of course. So there's sorts of things you can do if you want to support the channel. You can become a Patreon, number one. Number two, if you have a problem that you're stuck on, you can message me, but you're going to get an auto reply. And I do coaching in that fashion through a platform called either reach.me, link above, and I'll do a video response for a flat fee, or you can book my time for one-on-one coaching on the phone, which is usually the best environment because it does require dialogue a lot of the times when you're dealing with something. So anyway, leave a comment below, smash the like button, show this to somebody that needs to see it if they're doing something where the juice simply isn't worth the squeeze and they need to hear it from somebody else. And we'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.